All right, everybody. Welcome to LEAP 2020 Leadership Awards Ceremony. I'm David Ono, and I'll be your MC today. This is an event very special to me. And while we may not be together in person at the Japanese American Culture and Community Center in Little Tokyo, Los Angeles, downtown LA, of course, we're still together, aren't we? And this is truly one of my favorite organizations, one of my favorite events. So I'm really happy to be here. And of course, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we can all be together in person next year. But nevertheless, we have a great program for you. Thank you for being here today, engaging with one another, and celebrating the leaders from our communities and their stories. So let's begin this award ceremony with LEAP's president and CEO, Linda Akutagawa. Thank you so much, Linda. Take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to have you all here with us today. Before I begin, I would like to quickly say a huge thank you to David Ono for taking the time today to help us with our event. You know, it's so apt that you're here with us as LEAP's Master of Ceremonies for this year's celebration again. For years, you've inspired reporters to be of all ages and backgrounds with your dedication to journalism and your reporting every day on their television. As a storyteller, you've captivated millions across the country with your portrayals of the Asian American story and uplifting all of us through your filmmaking and documentaries. We are truly honored to have you join us today. And thank you so much, David, for all that you continue to do for LEAP and Asian Americans everywhere. As LEAP navigates this new virtual environment and all that it entails, we took up the challenge of reimagining three key goals that we wanted to continue with our celebration. One, bring innovation to our annual fundraising celebration. Two, support LA, the Asian American community, and the Little Tokyo small business community. And three, highlight the accomplishments of Asian or Pacific Islander leaders who tirelessly advocate for our communities. Through our virtual platform, LEAP has continued to stay true with this year's theme of storytelling by finding new ways to celebrate our honorees' stories and their work. We're excited to be able to celebrate with a mix of networking opportunities, film screenings, art workshops, panels, and facilitated discussions through our Hop-In virtual platform. We hope that you have been able to or are able to explore the event platform and enjoy all of the activities, which will be available to you through the morning of Sunday, October 11th at 9 a.m. It's a great way to involve other people as well too, like your family and perhaps even some of your team members if you can. So since we're sharing stories, this seems like a perfect time to share LEAP's story with all of you. LEAP was founded 38 years ago around a kitchen table, literally around a kitchen table. Our original founders imagined a society where Asian and Pacific Islanders could thrive by embracing their authentic selves, realizing their fullest potential, and fostering greater belonging in a growingly diverse society. Over time, this expanded and evolved into an intergenerational family of Asian and Pacific Islanders leaders that continues to span ideologies, sectors, and locales. I am humbled to be here today representing both past and future generations of Asian and Pacific Islander leaders who endured immense challenges and who continue to break barriers to make our dreams possible. LEAP believes it is our collective responsibility, individually and on a community level, to understand our history when advocating for sustainable, meaningful change and representation within our organizations and society. We hope you will continue to join us in encouraging our community to expand our self-awareness and organize intentionally. Let's continue building a world where all our communities work and live in solidarity to reach full participation and equality. Before I go further, I do want to say thank you and appreciate the staff who put a lot of hard work into shifting this LEAP celebration into this fabulous virtual event this year. I'm so grateful to have this amazing staff that pivoted quickly and put together this beautiful and wonderful celebration of Asian and Pacific Islander leadership. that has spanned over the last 4 months. Thank you to Alex Sena, Housen Lay, Ashley Palma, Grace Toy, LD Vargas, for all of their work in helping out during today's festivities. And I want to make a special thank you to our event leads, Wendy Chung and Travis Wells, who just really tirelessly just did so much work in coordinating and planning the events of the last 4 months, all the way up to and during this event today. Thank you to all of the staff. I also want to acknowledge and thank the LEAP Board of Directors for their support and their encouragement as we continue to navigate through this unprecedented time. My appreciation to Bradley Cooper, Scott Higashi, Jeff Hong, Bill Kaneko, Jim Lactowan, Denise Lopez, Ursula Kwan, Eric Takayesu, Ku Tao, Mai Ton, George Wu, and Wenfu Wu. Additionally, I also want to thank our various partners who help to support LEAP and help to bring our collective mission and vision to fruition. As we all know, change is not immediate, nor does it occur in a vacuum. Real change requires committed partners and building deep, intentional relationships. I want to recognize our sponsors who partner with us and share our vision of diverse leaders shaping communities for the benefit of all. So first, so many thanks for the support of our title sponsor, Target. Our partnership with Target continues to be one that drives us to improve and innovate each year and have fun while doing impactful work. So thank you all to the Target team members for your continued support. I also want to say thank you to our LEAP annual contributors, Capital One, Lowe's, Masco, Southwest Airlines, Toyota, UPS, USAA. I also want to say thank you to our executive sponsors, Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education, otherwise known as APAHI, and Hui Ohana Pono for their support, and also to our corporate sponsors, the Aratani Foundation, Coca-Cola, Southern California Edison, for your continued support as well. All right, so I hope you'll all enjoy being here with us today, tonight, for those of you on the East Coast, and for all that we've got planned for the next couple hours, 2.5 hours or so. Lastly, though, before I pass it off to David, I just want to say, David, I'm just so glad that you're here because your presence makes this year's virtual celebration just complete.
Aw. Thank you so much, Linda. Linda Kutagawa, the CEO and president of LEAP. And LEAP, Linda, I love being here, and I look forward to what you do every year, and I fully appreciate and respect all that you have accomplished with so many people out there in our community. So thank you very much for having me. So we will now hear from LEAP's board chair, Scott Higashi, an experienced senior executive leader. Scott is the president of Pyramid Insurance Center. He is currently a board member of Make-A-Wish Hawaii and of Child and Family Service, volunteering with Hawaii-based organizations that positively impact and improve the lives of children and families in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Scott Higashi.
Thank you, David, and aloha everyone from Honolulu. I really want to thank all of you for joining us today in honoring these amazing leaders and celebrating 38 years of LEAP's work. Well, needless to say, we're coming to you in a very different time and environment, and 2020 has been especially unique. And in many respects, this year reflects the consequence of kicking the rhetorical equity can down the road. This year also forces us, as API leaders and as members of communities, and as a society, to critically reflect on the questions that move our work forward in these times. How do we perceive community? What is our responsibility for our community's well-being and future? How do we build those futures together as communities? How do we support each other in times of tension and uncertainty? Your story, your personal journey as an API leader and as a member of our community, and your participation matter now more than ever. Unfortunately, far too often we've watched issues of equity and inclusion get pushed back to the back burner in times of hardship and struggle. I'm really proud to know that in spite of every challenge, LEAP has found its way to endure and thrive, whether it's global recessions or a pandemic. LEAP has always prioritized and centered our community, and that prioritization has continued to sustain lasting change throughout the years. There's never been a time when the need for leadership in all sectors is more evident. Please count on LEAP to be there with you as we walk this journey together. Today, I humbly ask that as you're enjoying the festivities and honoring our honorees, that you consider donating to LEAP so that we can continue to actively support the development of Asian and Pacific Islander leaders so that they can continue to make lasting impacts in our communities. We need to build communities and create and cultivate lasting relationships. We need to build coalitions and foster cooperation. And our work would not be possible without your support. Thank you all again, everyone, for your support and enjoy the festivities. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you so much, Scott, and for those wise words shared about supporting each other as a community. And with that, we want to go ahead and celebrate our honorees. All of the leaders and organizations receiving awards today have spent the majority of their lives and careers authentically telling Asian and Pacific Islander stories through their work. Their incredible efforts reflect the centrality of their values and their commitments to community. Their work, both inside and outside the office, echoes the value of making space and holding space for our unique and invaluable stories. So, here we go. Our first honoree is Akira Hirose, chef and co-owner of Aze. Born and raised in Kyoto, Japan, Achida trained in the French countryside of Aze-le-Rideau and Paris. And after being recruited to work at the esteemed La Rangerie in Los Angeles, he and his wife opened a French restaurant in Kyoto, Japan. And then they opened one in Pasadena, California, which closed in March of 2019, but only after celebrating 20 years as Maison Achida. What a wonderful place it was. But Aze is the homecoming of Chef Achida as he explores the intersection of history, cuisine, and community in Little Tokyo. So here's a portion of an interview with Chef Achida and his family.
My name is Akira Hirose. I'm a chef owner of this restaurant called Aze. Before here, I used to do a French cuisine with some kind of fusion. Now here, Kung Fu French and the Japanese, it's more Kung Fu Japanese. When you eat, you are comfortable. Stay open. It's showing how we can create when you are in trouble. This is a chance to create new things. When you are study job, always nice. You don't create that much. But when you are in trouble, you need to create. I hope the other restaurant, especially young restaurant people, see us how we continue to open, how we doing, and then they can get some kind of idea.
We'll talk with other business owners, small business owners, to get whether the store, how are you guys, getting through this, like with your staff, and what loans have you applied for, or what banks, or how do you, to get your applications in, and how we've all had to cut our hours, and we all have to kind of, strategize so that we support each other by, talking about how to strategize to work this out.
I think one of the biggest benefits of doing takeout is as human beings, we're like social. We're social animals. And just seeing people, I think, allows us to give it another day. Having that quick interaction of saying hi and asking how each other are doing, especially since these community gatherings no longer exist, or they can't happen right now. Just seeing people at a safe distance is, I think, one of the best parts of, one of the silver linings of trying to get through this time.
The Little Tokyo community meant a lot to my dad. His name was Mr. Maihara. And, even in his later years, and we bring him out to the community, he always wanted us to support Little Tokyo. He always wanted us to support the small businesses. So, I would always try to support like Rafa-Busan. Every wedding we'd go to, I'd go to Rafa-Busan for the wedding gift, or, I take tea ceremony class, I'd go to Fugetsudo. I used to split every other week between Fugetsudo getting the manju or Mikawaya, but now Mikawaya doesn't make it anymore. So, he always taught me to support the Little Tokyo, businesses. So, I try to pass that on to my kids. But it means a lot to be part of it now, to have moved down here.
Oh, that was just wonderful, and wonderful to hear from the entire Hirose family. As a Japanese American, it's so great to hear about how the Little Tokyo community supports each other, especially during the pandemic. And I will say that Chef Achida has actually helped me on a number of events. That whole family, they are so giving to our community. And for that, we want to say thank you so much. Now, here is a presentation of the award with the Hirose family.
Congratulations, Chef Akira. Thank you so much for your support of the HVAC community.
Thank you, Desi. Arigato for this wonderful award. This award, without support of my family, staff, and community, I couldn't receive. Please continue to support Asian Pacific Islander community. Let's see. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Aw, isn't that adorable? So cute. And didn't that food look so good? You have, if you've never eaten at one of his restaurants, you have to go. It is fantastic. And by the way, thank you for all you do to support the Asian Pacific Islander community, Chef. And a reminder to all of you out there that our dining hall features gift cards to Aze. So I hope that everyone takes advantage of the opportunity to taste Chef Akida's delicious meals. And boy, I can't wait till restaurants are able to open up again. That is should be at the top of your list of places you want to try. He is so talented and so good. Okay, so here we go. Up next, we have the Margaret Achida Leadership Award. Margaret Achida's leadership guided Leap through a time of transition, shaping the vision and future of the organization that exists today. Margaret's untimely passing a few years ago, with that, Leap wanted to find a way to honor her memory and created this award to recognize individuals who, like Margaret, were passionate about leadership and about making a positive impact. So this year, Tracy Doy is a recipient of the Margaret Achida Award. Tracy Doy serves as Chief Financial Officer and Group Vice President for Toyota Motor North America, responsible for accounting, finance, tax, corporate strategy, and planning. She does so much. So Tracy is also an active board member of the National Asian American Pacific Islander Chamber of Commerce, 2020 Women on Boards, and the Japanese American National Museum, in addition to volunteering for the Orchid Giving Circle at the Texas Women's Foundation. So here is what leadership means to her.
I think from a leadership perspective, everybody would like to be treated the way that they would like to be treated. And I think that's one of my personal values is really respect for people, which is why I love Toyota so much, because the values very much align. But from a family perspective, as a close-knit family, really very supportive, trying to help one another out, providing tools to help break down barriers. And I was fortunate to have, my mother was a career woman. She was a teacher, educator, wrote resource curriculum. My dad was a chemical engineer, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur. So I think I had really great role models. And my older sister, really broke the path ahead of me. So it was nice. I'm at a point in my career that I really want to try to help develop the next generation. And it's such a pleasure to be able to do that within the workplace as well as in the community. And it's really about trying to lift everyone to their highest potential and giving individuals the confidence that they know that they can do more, and really give them that opportunity to be able to either volunteer, maybe they can lead a project, build that confidence in those tools to see themselves. Either, it doesn't necessarily need to be a higher level, it could just be expanding their scope and their horizon. So I think for myself, that's the best part of my job, right? Everybody thinks that the CFO spends all their time on numbers. A lot of my role is connecting the dots, helping individuals to see the broader picture, the bigger vision, and what part that they can play in making a difference for the company and the community. I really would like to thank the LEAP organization. We have a very special partnership with LEAP, and specifically with Linda. She's been kind enough to help us with our leadership development programs for Tasia, our ERG, our Employee Resource Group within Toyota. And what's been really nice to see is since our move to Texas, we've also been able to offer those workshops to our neighbors. And so Tasia has had an open house to invite maybe 15 major companies in the local area and their Asian business partnering groups to participate. And that helps us get more acclimated into the community, but also build a broader, community base of leaders that are up and coming within the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So LEAP has been wonderful in helping us with that. I've heard such great feedback for those that have participated, and I know it's going to make a difference for many years to come. And I think that as we help educate other leaders that may have different styles to be inclusive, I think we can support one another. And in this time frame where we are seeing such social injustice, I think the Asian community can be great partners for other people of color and be strong allies and upstanders to make a difference. So LEAP is a great example of that, and so I thank you, Wendy, for this opportunity. And I'm so honored by this recognition. Please know it means a lot to me.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for your inspiring words and your hard work, Tracy. And now for the acceptance of the Margaret Achida Leadership Award.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank LEAP for this tremendous honor. I'm so humbled and touched, especially as I've learned more about the great work of Margaret Achida in the community and her support for the Asian American leaders. But really, I would like to accept this award on behalf of our Toyota Tasia Employee Resource Group. They are the volunteers that partner with LEAP on our development program for our next generation of Asian American leaders. We also together celebrate our heritage. And one of the things that I'm sure Margaret Achida would be pleased to know is that we support APIA scholars, STEM students that have high potential and ones that really want to give back to the community. Toyota Tasia has expanded our partnership within the community with other organizations that also want to lift our next generation of Asian American leaders. So thank you so much, Lee, for all that you do every day to help our community lift this next generation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Tracy, thank you so much. You so deserve that. You are a godsend to our community, and it's wonderful seeing you at all those events. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you in person next year. Your leadership has deeply impacted the API community. So our next honoree is a recipient of the Community Award, and I'm happy to introduce the Asian Arts Initiative. Asian Arts Initiative is a multidisciplinary and community-based arts center in Philadelphia that engages and advances racial equity and understanding, activating artists, youth, and their communities through creative practice and dialogue that is grounded in the diverse Asian American experience. Take a look.
Asian Arts Initiative was founded in 1993 by Gail Issa, who was at the Peanut Bride Arts Center at the time. If you'll recall, there was a Rodney King trial, and the results of that really forced us to be really thinking about what it means to participate in society as arts leaders. At the onset of the pandemic and the shutdown, I think like a lot of Asian American and Asian diasporic organizations, we were dealing with competing crises of a pandemic, health-related problems, and then racism. That's been the hardest part. But today, I think after 6 to 7 months of doing this work and really kind of doubling down on our social practice, we're finding that we've always been adaptive and adaptable. This has been a conflict since before the pandemic, and I guess the short answer to how we've adapted is to stick to our guns. I think it's one thing to be an artist with a practice, and somewhat of a different thing to be an arts leader. But if you're aspiring to arts leadership, I just think it's so important that you keep your conviction and stay unapologetic about who you are, your identity, what you're doing, and who you're doing it with. It's all about collaboration, but it's all about sincerity, genuineness, a little bit different than authenticity. I wouldn't challenge anybody to rise to a different level of identity than they already do. I think how you live day to day is probably about as authentic as you get, but just to continue to iterate that truth is so important today. Our response to the competing crises during this pandemic and the inflection point of social justice movements has been to think of a long game. Our initiative is focused on recovery and not rescue, and as such, we're endeavoring to protect artists and our community members, staff, and other partners by working in cooperative modes of partnership. We are talking in coalitions focused on coming up with a more equitable budget for the city. In Philadelphia, arts funding has all but been eliminated. We are planning. We've started a pen pal program to leaven the mood. So you can elect into receiving postcards from our staff and artists. We are developing a project called Unity at the Initiative, which will center the voices of queer, trans, Black, Indigenous people of color, led by Jeffrey Chung at the Unity Initiative out of Oakland. We're staging a public exhibition in Philadelphia, along with in-home experiences such as care packages, complete with artwork. And we're providing for artists with a fee rubric that meets them where they need to be protected financially. We've also converted our gallery and theater into a learning access center for K-6 kids in the public school system here who have limited or no access to Wi-Fi or whose parents otherwise aren't able to supervise their children's at-home learning experiences. We are doing this in concert with the city while we continue to collaborate with partner organizations on how to provide for a more equitable and sustainable future, financially, socially, creatively.
What wonderful work Asian Arts Initiative is doing in the community. And here's Ann Ishii, Executive Director of Asian Arts Initiative, receiving the Community Award on behalf of the organization.
Welcome to an extravaganza like you've never witnessed before. The Leap Awards, starring Asian Arts Initiative. Wait, I'm not introducing the Leap Awards, we're just accepting one? Okay. Never mind. That's right, Dario. Oh, this is so uncomfortable. Hi, I'm Ann Ishii, and on behalf of the Asian Arts Initiative, I want to say thank you to LEAP for this award and outstanding leadership supporting Asian and Pacific Islander communities. Because leadership isn't all that it's quacked out to be. Most of the time, you're just getting roasted. I mean, when I first started, everybody was like, who is that chick? But thanks to organizations like LEAP, we're developing into beautiful swans. Now, Congress is in its lame duck session, so I think this is a great time to remind everybody to please vote on November 3rd. Thanks, LEAP. Okay.
Oh my God, that was memorable. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And congratulations, AAI. Be sure to check out their mural tour and artist interviews in the Dine-In Theater. So our next award is the David R. Barkley Alumni Award. And this award is named after the father of Danielle, David Barkley, who was a diversity advocate who supported LEAP for over 20 years as a LEAP board member, trainer, consultant, and advisor. David's daughter, Danielle Marino, is here today to share a bit more about David's relationship with LEAP. Take a look.
Good evening. My name's Danielle Marino, and I am David R. Barkley's daughter. It's a great honor to be here this evening for the LEAP Leadership Awards celebration. And Tammy, congratulations to you. I was talking with Wendy, and she gave me some ideas on topics to talk about, sharing information about my father. So one was how he got involved with LEAP. Many of you may not know my father. It's a whole new generation that has come through. But to give you a little background, he worked at Hughes Aircraft for 28 years. And he was involved in the Aerospace and Technology Management Program. And I'm pretty sure this is where he met JD, and they became fast friends. From that point forward, my father was an active supporter of LEAP. He served in numerous capacities, including training. He was a speaker, even the Masters of Ceremonies. He was also the first non-Asian board member. He took pride in his involvement with LEAP. And I want to thank the LEAP organization for taking him in as you did. And thinking about some of the stories my dad would share, one that I thought was very interesting is that he spoke to JD one day and suggested that they replace him as Master of Ceremonies with someone who represented the Asian community, who represented LEAP. And they tried it one year, and it was a duo. It was my father and another person. And shortly thereafter that, the following year, it was my dad again. And I think that just tells how much love the organization had for my father. And that is why we are here to support him and the LEAP organization as well. I would like to close with a favorite quote of his. And it goes, "It's no disgrace to lose, only a disgrace not to try. For as long as we are in the fight for social justice and basic human rights, we must remain alive and vibrant and vital as human beings. The struggle was here before we arrived, and it will not be completed before we depart. We have come on the scene, we have taken up the baton, and now it is our responsibility to hand it in better condition than it was given to us. So please, Tammy, best of luck to you. LEAP, keep on going. You're doing an awesome job. And thank you."
Love that. Words of wisdom. That was fantastic. We appreciate everything that you shared, Danielle. David's words still resonate today, and we're so glad to celebrate the work of David each year. So now I'd like to reintroduce the recipient of the David R. Barkley Alumni Award, Tammy Bowie. Change is the only constant, and as someone who loves adventures, Tammy and her family have made some changes since our kickoff in July, shifting from Associate Vice President of Government and Communications at Cal State University Fullerton. Tammy is currently the Senior Government Relations Manager at Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace based in San Francisco. She is a bridge builder, pathfinder, and dot connector who is always willing to ask what is possible. Here's an interview with Tammy where she expands on her values and how she views community.
I fundamentally believe that we're all connected. And so when I think about community, I think if we can just treat each other with the dignity and grace that we expect just as a human. I know it sounds very maybe like, but I'm being like so idealistic, but I actually see community as like if we actually see ourselves in our community, then we actually would be a lot kinder to each other. But when we don't is when we think, well, it's happening over there and I'm not in that community. And so I don't have a role to play. like we have a role to play. It isn't for somebody else to do. And so what I see in LEAP when we talk about developing leaders, we're not saying it's exclusive to one area. It's that we all have parts that we can play and that need to be heard, really. And so I think sometimes people think taking some sort of action, it has to be this big, grand, I don't know, like it has, like you have to come out and be president of something or create something new. And frankly, you can teach, you can be kind to the person next to you, you can listen to somebody, you can do things every day in your community to be able to make a difference. What I love about the role that I get to play at Cal State Fullerton is I get to ask the question of what role does the university play in terms of how we are in the community, right? Not just the campus community, but the external community, so that we're not just saying, oh yeah, we're here for all 40,000 students and we're diverse. And I really feel as an institution, we have leadership that really believes we have a role to play when it comes to social justice. And in looking at institutional racism and what our role is as an education institution to make changes, which of course will take time. But I guess I would say I feel like it's a lifelong commitment and something that in every role that I've taken, I have felt that it's about the mission of why I'm there. I have to know why I'm there. And so I would say that's my commitment, right? My commitment is not just in this job. It's a lifelong commitment, and it's something that I do in raising my children. It's something that I do in leading my team, my own staff. It's what I do when I work with students on campus. It's what I do when I work with my fellow management team, right? And I challenge conversations or I bring ideas. I just feel like it has to permeate in all that we do. And that's how I see my responsibility and how I see my work. It's more of life's work.
Tammy, you do so much, and you raise important questions about what role we play in our communities and our lifelong commitments. And now, here we are with Dr. Daryl Foster, who is Tammy's husband, to present Tammy with the David R. Barkley Award. Take a look.
Thank you, David, and welcome to our home, everyone. We are so excited and pleased that we are going to present my wife, Tammy, with this wonderful award from LEAP. It's the David R. Barkley Alumni Leadership Award, and Tammy does not know that this is happening right now. We're going to surprise her. So we are live. This is exclusive coverage from our own home today. So thank you for joining us. And kids, would you mind getting your mother for us?
Mommy!
What can I have? Well, what is this?
Well, babe, we are so honored and pleased and proud of you. This is LEAP's David R. Barkley Alumni Leadership Award. So I'm so honored to be able to present this to you today, just for your awesomeness and just for being so amazing and all the great things you do. Congratulations.
Thank you, babe. Thank you, Malia, for being our camera woman, and Dalen for getting me and surprising me. This is something I clearly was not expecting. But anyway, let me straighten myself up and say, thank you so much. Babe, thank you for this special award. It means a lot coming from you. Thank you, LEAP, for having this celebration and using your platform to uplift the stories of others. I also want to say a big thank you to the David R. Barkley family. This is so special. I know that he was somebody who mentored and was a guide to others, and he was somebody who stood for inclusion and diversity before it was in vogue. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for sharing him with us. I finally also want to give a big shout out to all those who may not be here with me, but who are out there in the audience. My family and friends from my Capital days in Sacramento to Edison to Cal State Fullerton, and now my Pearl family.
This means a lot, and this always reminds me that when we can help others, when we can use our voice, and when we can uplift others, we should always do that. And with that, I'm going to make sure that my kids are in here because I want to uplift them and let them be seen because they are my true treasures. Babe, I wish you were in here too, but let's say goodbye. Thank you.
Back to you, David.
Oh my gosh. That is adorable. And yeah, you really sold us on the big surprise. I love your grubby clothes that you wear when you're cleaning up around the house. What a beautiful moment. And thanks for sharing it with us. And thank you, Tammy. Wonderful remarks. Congratulations again. And most importantly, thank you for all you do. And what a great family you have. So our final honoree is a recipient of the second community award, Flash Cuts. Flash Cuts was established in 2006 by Walt Louie, a longtime commercial and trailer editor who wanted to give individual support and care to his clients. He designed and he masterminded a creative space that would foster community for independent filmmakers in Los Angeles. Flash Cuts was designed to support filmmakers with resources and a physical space to gather and work. This year, Yuri Chung is here to share more about the origins of Flash Cuts and the work that they are doing now to support the Asian Pacific Islander community. Take a look.
Flash Cuts was founded in 2006 by Walt Louie. He was and is a longtime board member of Visual Communications here in Little Tokyo, Los Angeles. And honestly, he was just kind of coming out of a company that was shutting down, and he was trying to just keep his clients and continue working on commercials and trailers. I knew about him through a class that I took for editing at Visual Communications, which was sort of a community class about filmmaking and editing. And when I found out he needed to have an assistant or someone work with him as he started this new company, I decided to reach out. I quickly learned that Walt is really a person who likes to meet the needs of the community through whatever resources he has available. So, as we take on commercial clients and jobs, if we ever had the time or equipment or ability of our own, skills and time, we would give those back to the community, especially through Visual Communications or Center for Asian American Media up in San Francisco, which are two kind of Asian American focused media nonprofits here on the West Coast. Since 2006, we've sort of evolved, and I've been producing documentaries. So since 2012, 2013, when I worked with Grace Lee on American Revolutionary, which is a documentary about Grace Lee Boggs, I've basically kind of been working with other Asian American groups and projects. Most recently, there's a 5-hour PBS series called Asian Americans that aired in May for API Heritage Month. And that was sort of our biggest production from an Asian American documentary standpoint. And we house the entire production here from kind of the research stages back in 2018 through finishing it in the midst of COVID lockdowns and work from home situations in March, just to get it on the air in May. So it was a pretty big endeavor, and we essentially handled everything from soup to nuts. And that was, I think it was a challenge to see that we had within this physical building the resources to meet the needs of a production that large, but also that weirdly, because of my Asian American Studies background, which I never really thought would kind of play into a career in this way, that I was able to kind of bring some of that perspective into the content and really create something that we've been as a community waiting for a very long time. the production company that helped to make that happen. And I think it really helped us to know what we are capable of, to know that we are an Asian American company that can give or provide services that help us get like a very high caliber project to the screen.
What fantastic work that you do. So what an insightful take on API representation from Yuri Chung. And now let's see Yuri opening her award.
Knock, knock. I have a delivery here for flash cuts. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what's in this box. Hello to everyone watching and to LEAP. Thank you so much for this award. We are truly honored to be recognized for outstanding leadership in the Asian Pacific Islander community. And it's really been a pleasure to work with LEAP for the past several months, trying to highlight businesses and organizations that have been trying to help one another in this community through the crisis of the COVID virus. It's been really great to get to know all of these community members in Little Tokyo and to see what LEAP has been doing through their community feeding community program. And it's been a pleasure to work with these videos and to highlight what's happening in our community. Also, we are just thankful that we have been able to work in elevating the documentary voices of Asian American stories and Asian American and Pacific Islander filmmakers in our work at Flash Cuts. And it's just really nice to be recognized for that. So thank you to LEAP, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of the celebration.
So sweet. Congratulations on the Community Award, Yuri, and Flash Cuts. Yuri, you're brilliant. You deserve all the accolades. And I love the background music, too. Very uplifting. So don't forget to check out their featured films, K-Town 92 Reporters, Asian Americans PBS docuseries, Melee Murals, and Off the Menu Asian Americans. And you could also find curriculum on the LEAP website for both K-Town 92 Reporters and Off the Menu Asian Americans if you are interested in leading your own discussions around these Asian American stories. Boy, what great work that you have done, and we really appreciate that. So, as a general reminder to our audience, all films, documentaries, mural tours, art workshops, and cooking demonstrations will be available on this platform until October 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Feel free to check out and explore any of the events you weren't able to visit yet. And please share these with your friends and family. Let's start having these important conversations in our communities. So our event is coming to a close, and we hope that you enjoyed hearing these stories and celebrating these leaders in our community. They all deserve it. And as we move into the final portion of the evening, I encourage you to give to LEAP. Support the work that they do. Giving is easy. You could donate on the LEAP website at leap.org. And now, to close out the 2020 Leadership Award celebration, he was responsible for the music of the LEAP celebration for the past 3 years, so it seemed perfect to end the event with him today. This performance will be an interactive musical experience. We can't wait for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Chucky Kim, the stage is yours.